222.
You are watching Sports and Sorts live on YouTube. That's 75% sports, 25% sorts. And here are your hosts, Shane and the Bry Man.
Yes, we are back. If you just saw us on Instagram, we are live now on YouTube. We were live on Instagram just a few seconds ago. Giving you a heads up on what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be going into the MLB trade that happened earlier this week with Mookie Betts. We're going to be talking about that and the impact on the AL East because we are huge Yankee fans. And quite frankly, we can't stand the Red Sox. We're also going to be talking about some NBA topics today. We're going to touch on the NBA trades. I'm going to be focusing one in particular because I am a Houston Rockets fan. I am intrigued by this trade. I don't know if I love it or hate it yet, but we'll see. So I will talk about that. I don't know if Bryman has anything he wants to touch on with the NBA trades. There were several that happened. D'Angelo Russell got moved. He's headed to the Timberwolves, I believe. So we're going to be talking about that briefly, not getting into too much NBA stuff today because we have less than an hour to film today. And we are also going to be capping off the show with our sorts side of things. And we're going to be touching on the Mount Rushmore of Star Wars characters. That is movie and TV canon only. Movie, TV canon only. Keeping up with all those books is almost impossible. So that's where we're at. We got a great show today, and I'm really excited to talk about this stuff. But you can follow the show on Twitter at Shane and Bryman, Facebook.com/Shane and the Bryman. Follow me on Twitter at Einhornisfinkel. Follow the Bryman.
The _Bry_man.
And also you can keep up with me on Instagram as well. I'm going to try and start doing some more stuff on Instagram. And that is I think it's Happy McAvoy is what my name is. It's two of my greatest golf movies of all time. And it's a phenomenal name, just like my Einhorn is Finkel. And we will get into our topics right now because we are going to start off with baseball. And
The state of the Yankees.
because this is kind of really related to the Yankees. Mookie Betts got traded to the Dodgers, along with David Price, which sucks for us. I would much rather have Mookie Betts on the Red Sox and David Price on the Red Sox than having them both out of the division because we raked David Price. It was like almost not a guaranteed win, but it was guaranteed runs. Especially Gary Sanchez. Gary Sanchez, I don't know. How many home runs did he have last year? He probably hit half of them off of David Price.
Probably.
That's going to be sad for him. So
the only guy he hits.
Look for him to decline. Well, that's because all he throws is fastballs. So it's kind of easy to guess what he's going to throw, right?
Yeah, you don't need a trash can for that.
And it's a fastball that doesn't move a lot. So I guess we'll see Gary Sanchez's numbers decline a little bit this year, potentially. I guess we'll see who they get to fill in for David Price. I mean, the Red Sox are in shambles at the moment on multiple levels. Lost their manager, lost their best player. They still have some good players. Obviously, they have Devers. They have Devers. I wouldn't even call him. They have Benintendi. He's good. Yeah. They have Sale. Yep. They have some good players, but this is a huge loss for them. And granted, yes, Mookie could be back during free agency. We'll see how that goes. But as of right now, he is a Dodger. What is your take on this whole thing? For me, I'm torn because I like to see the Yankees and Red Sox go at it. But I also like seeing the Yankees win the division and having those two key players out of their lineup and out of their depth chart, out of their roster is good for Yankee business because they're likely going to win the division. So what are your thoughts?
You know, when I was tweeting with Damien the other day, our friend of the program, the beautiful mind himself, Damien Dyden, and who is of course a diehard Red Sox fan. And I told him, to tune into this show. I said, because I told him I thought that my take on this would surprise him a bit. And I think it will. I am really actually upset about this. you would think as a Yankee fan, I would love this. The fact that Mookie Betts is out of the division and about as far away from the Yankees as could possibly be. Yeah. But I'm sad. I'm sad about this. I'm sad because Mookie Betts, in my opinion, I believe in Major League Baseball right now, there are three faces of baseball. I believe one, first and foremost, is Mike Trout. I believe Mookie Betts, and I believe Aaron Judge are the three faces of baseball. And it saddens me that a guy like Mookie Betts, who I believe to not only be one of the three faces of baseball, but one of the top two players in the league, I would put him really only behind Trout. The guy does everything. There's not a lot of five-tool players in Major League Baseball. Mookie Betts is one of them. And he's not just really good. He's a former MVP. He's a runner-up MVP. He's a world champion. In a very short amount of time, this young man has accomplished a lot. And he's taken one of the premier franchises in all of sports and delivered them a World Series championship, which is something that Bostonians demand. And now he's been moved across the country to the Los Angeles Dodgers, another high-profile team. But it saddens me. Now, granted, yes, he is playing for another high-profile team, which is good. I mean, he'll continue to be on the national stage. He's not like, tucked away in Oakland or something like that, or Kansas City or.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think this is the thing is that he's going to the Dodgers, and the Dodgers are incredibly chasing a ring.
Of course, they're the ultimate ring chasers.
Yes,
they are.
They are thirsty, is what
they are.
like to say. They are very thirsty.
They are. But I'm sad. But I am honestly, though, and I genuinely mean this, I am sad. I'm sad for baseball, and I'm in a way sad for not the Red Sox themselves. The organization, I kind of don't care.
Right.
But for Red Sox fans who I am friends with, and who have pretty good heads on their shoulders, I'm sad for them because you've now. I really liked Mookie Betts. I mean, yes, it sucked to have to face him, but he belongs on the Boston Red Sox. These are the kind of guys that you don't get rid of. These are the kind of guys that you make other sacrifices for. Mm-hmm. You don't sacrifice them. You know what? As far as I'm concerned, the Red Sox, look, I know they've got some financial stuff going on. I know that they're in a bind right now financially. I get it. Okay. But this is not the guy you sacrifice. This is the guy you make sacrifices for. This is the guy that you pay him.
Yeah.
No matter what. Mm-hmm. Is he going to cost you $400 million?
And
Probably.
They still might pay him.
Maybe. Mm-hmm. But here's the question. My brother brought this up yesterday. I'm not even so sure he wants to be a Boston Red Sox.
It'd be tough after this.
They'll get as much a chance as anybody else would when he hits free agency after next year. But do I necessarily like their chances? Not really. They made him some offers that he considered to be low ball offers because he didn't even really entertain them. They were shot down immediately because they were probably somewhere in the low 300 million range. And he's going to get more than that. He's going to get mid threes at least. Trout got over 400 million. Mookie at his age is going to get close to 400 million. He's going to get in that Bryce Harper. First of all, he's a significantly better player than Bryce Harper. Is he Trout? No. But you know what? He may be the second best player in baseball behind Trout. So believe me, this guy's going to get paid somewhere between $375 and $400 million. Now, if the Red Sox can manage to get themselves out of, financial distress after this year, then yeah, they'll have as good a chance maybe as anybody, but they'll have just that, a chance. No guarantee that he goes back there. And in fact, I would say the odds are kind of against that. But this actually makes me sad. It makes me upset because at a time when baseball is flush with cash, and the Red Sox are an extremely profitable team, despite the, relatively speaking, smaller size of their stadium, they make a ton of money. They could have made this happen. Would they have had to fork over a really big luxury tax bill? Yes, they would have. Could they afford that? Yes, easily. You know how you afford it? Raise the price of your chicken strip basket by $1. Boom, Mookie Betts taken care of. Raise beer by 50 cents a cup. You think those drunks in Fenway still aren't going to pay for it? Of course they are. Just like the drunks in New York will pay 50 cents more for a beer if you charge them that much more for a Budweiser. Of course they're going to do it. You're telling me
you can fit more cars in there than ever now with the Smart Pot.
Are you telling me, though, really, seriously, that the Boston Red Sox, who have won 4 championships in the last 2 decades and are basically the team of the last 20 years, they could not afford to, the one guy in the last 20 years that you have had, and I'm including Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz, Pedro, I'm including all those guys. This is the one guy at his age with his skill set and already what he's done that you could not afford to let go. You're saying you couldn't afford him financially? I'm saying you could not afford to let him walk. And you did. And listen, did they get an okay return? Yeah. I mean, I like Alex Verdugo. He's a Mookie light. But is he Mookie? No. I mean, and he'll slot in. I mean, he'll slot in. And I know they got a highly touted pitcher, too, whose name I'm not even going to remotely attempt to tackle. Mm-hmm. But so, I mean, it wasn't like a fleecing, but it's more about what they lost here.
Right. As
opposed to what they picked up in return. What they lost is really significant. I mean, I'm sorry. You can't let here. And here's the analogy I'll make. Is there any chance, if push comes to shove, and I'll use the Yankees because I think it's a good example. Let's say Aaron Judge is one of the 3 faces of baseball. Circumstances are a little different because Judge is a little bit older than Mookie Betts. Judge is 27, and by the time he actually hits free agency for his big payday, he's going to be 28. So that changes things a little bit. But here's what I'll tell you. The Yankees will not let Aaron Judge get away. They'll let Gary Sanchez walk. They'll let somebody else walk. But they will not let Aaron Judge get out of their sights because they know who he is and what he represents. He's one of the 3 faces of baseball. He's not going anywhere. And the Red Sox, how they let this come to this, especially when you could see this. Red Sox fans, and they were talking about this for like over a year. Like they saw this coming. This was like you were standing on the tracks, you saw the train coming, and you just stood there and let it hit you.
Right.
Whereas even though you could have, at a snail's pace, walked off the tracks and saved your life, they saw this coming and they never did anything about it. And it actually came to fruition, and I can't imagine how. Now, one of the things that did hurt them, although I'm sure they knew it was going to happen, was that JD Martinez did not opt out. Because if JD Martinez had opted out, that would have saved them 20-something million. It probably would have allowed them the flexibility to retain him. But JD Martinez was never going anywhere. No. First of all, he wasn't going to get that kind of money on the open market. And second, there wasn't much of an open market for him. He's completely useless in the National League. And there's every team in the American League already has a DH for the most part. Now, would he be an upgrade over almost any DH? Yes. But no one's going to pay him that kind of money just to do that. That guy has no versatility whatsoever.
Right.
And like I said, he's a non-factor in the National League. So there's no market for JD Martinez. Of course he was staying put. The Red Sox did this to themselves. I don't feel bad for them, but I feel bad for baseball, and I feel bad for Red Sox fans in a way because this is a guy who should have been a Boston Red Sox for life.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that the one thing that I really do think that it doesn't necessarily play, it probably doesn't play a big part. But if I was Mookie Betts and there was all this scandal and everything going on in the organization, I would want to see how it plays out. So I wouldn't mind leaving for a little while and I'd actually be kind of okay with this at this point, because if there's a lot of scandal, I mean, whether it's Alex Cora or just Alex Cora or not, however it's going to go, I would kind of want to see how the organization's how they're going to handle this going forward. And but yeah, I think that's kind of where we're at with Mookie Betts. I mean, he's gone. There's a good chance, I would say more than a 50-50 chance that he'll be back in the Red Sox uniform next year. It all depends on how much money people pony up for him. And I think there's going to be some huge dollar amounts. And yeah, I'm with you. I mean, he's up there with the likes of Bryce Harper, but Bryce Harper is more of the potential. Still, he's more the potential of who he could be, whereas Mookie Betts is living up to and exceeding his potential. So,
I'd rather have the guy who lives up to and exceeds his potential consistently, where instead of waiting around for Bryce Harper, it is $375 million contract.
He gets injured a lot too, but he does bring a lot of hair to the table. But other than that, I mean, he is a good ball player, but he is not a top 3 player right now. Bryce Harper, but Mookie Betts,
but he's paid like a top 2 player.
Yes, he's paid like one of the best, and that's because of the potential. He's
a top 10 player. I'll give him that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I guess as far as if you go as marketability though, he's a top 2 player.
Of course, he's through the roof.
Yeah, he might be number 1.
The look, the way he plays, he's kind of a human highlight.
He might be number 1.
The
way he swings, everything about him just screams.
He's star. He's a star. Yeah. He's an absolute star, and there's no question.
Different. So you are kind of paying for both, and I'm sure that is part of the whole.
And in a city like Philadelphia, marketing your athletes is a good thing because you can make a lot of money off of them in that city. Yes, Philly loves its sports, so
yes, they do, and they love their gritty players, and they love their hard-nosed players, and
they hate Santa Claus. They hate him.
Damien is here. He said that he is here. Just so you know, Damien. We're going to be talking about our Mount Rushmore Star Wars characters, movie and TV, best of all time.
I'm curious if he heard my.
I would like to hear who he has to pick, and if you have the chance, go on to Twitter. If you're not going to sound off here, if you're just listening, you can log on to Twitter real quick. Go at Shane and Bryman, and it's posted. It's pinned to the top. Who do you think are the Mount Rushmore of Star Wars characters, movie and TV canon, best of all time? I want that. Post in the comments, and we'll read them. Your 4 live on the show
let's
today.
Clarify that these are our 4 guys, our preferences.
Yes.
So
he said he just got here, so he's sad that he missed the Mookie talk.
Well, if you rewind and hear my take, you'll hear that it's both of those things.
Yeah, because I mean that's really that's all we're really talking about right now, and I'm with you. I'm with you with the sadness for baseball a little bit. It's not like he's leaving that much because he's just going to the West Coast, and this would make for huge ratings in the World Series if it does in fact go Yankees versus Dodgers.
Sure.
That would be huge. So this will be
if the Yankees can survive James Paxton's injury. James Paxton. I like James Paxton, but every time I warm up to him, he's something. Yeah. Although I think this is less on him and a little more on the organization with that because they should have anticipated that.
The big maple and more the big twig. Like he's easily breakable.
He is breakable. Yeah.
He's like a kind of like
I like that actually. The big twig.
He's a little dried out twig a little bit. He's got a.
No, don't overthink it. Yeah. You had it with the big twig. Right. That's good.
Cool.
I mean, he is big.
No doubt.
Cool.
All right, so. We'll get into the Star Wars stuff a little bit later. Do you have anything else you want to talk about the MLB trade? Anything like that? I mean, David Price going to the Dodgers he's going to be a good 3 or 4 for them. Like he is not a front end starter, but his numbers should improve in the National League.
I will tell you what scares me a little bit. I'll tell you what scares me a little bit too, because as you know, as Yankee fans, West Coast trips always bug the crap out of us, right? Yeah. When we go out to Oakland and LA. Yeah. I am really less thrilled about going out to LA now too, because now LA's lineup is freaking loaded because they got Jock Peterson as part of this fallout. Have you looked at Jock Peterson's numbers? That guy can rake. Mm-hmm. You put him in that lineup where he's going to have some protection with guys like Trout and Ohtani and now Anthony Rendon and Peterson. That is a scary middle of that lineup.
He had a lot of protection in LA too, though.
No, he did. But I think he's going to a place where he's got at least around him pretty equally. Now, there's more depth for sure in the Dodgers lineup than there is in the Angels lineup. But the Angels lineup, 1 through 5, is scary.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're going to.
So now we got to deal with that crap again, and they're going to be pains in the asses to the Yankees.
They are finally making some moves that, like, because Jock Peterson isn't a top player. He's not a.
I'll tell you what.
He's not even the top 3 at his position, but he is a very solid player, and he is going to help them out.
But he can hit. He can
hit bombs. He's a good fielder too.
But I can. I will say this. I'm really, really glad the Yankees got Garrett Cole, because if Cole had gone to the Angels and they had gotten Peterson in this trade, I would be thinking very differently of that team. Because I would actually say, I might even, especially with the turmoil that the Astros are clearly going to be going through this year, I might even list the Angels as the favorites if Cole had gone there. But he didn't, and thankfully he's with us, comfortably nestled in pinstripes. So I don't think that, but I'll tell you, the Angels are, man, they're one or two good pitchers away from making noise, which I wouldn't mind, because I really would like to see the best player in baseball get in the playoffs on a regular basis. But I wouldn't want to face that team, though.
Yeah.
Their lineup is starting to scare me.
Damian asked the question if we had cover Verdugo's off the field issues, and we have not. I don't know much about him, so if you want to put it,
I don't either.
I know that he's a talent. I have heard possibly some sexual assault stuff, maybe, or
yeah. I don't just.
They haven't really divulged a lot of information about it, so I don't know if that's the issue or how legit it actually is. But go ahead and post it in the comments, and we'll definitely touch on it if there is something in fact about that. But as far as the MLB trade goes, as of right now, we're both kind of I'm a little more kind of enthused about it, just because I do think it could lead up to big time stuff in the World Series, barring the fact that two teams get there, the Yankees and the Dodgers, for multiple reasons. I mean, that is huge East Coast, West Coast bias right there for both sides. And then on top of that, they are two of the biggest names in baseball. And then on top of that, you get Mookie Betts, who used to be a Red Sox, and he used to beat on the Yankees a bit. So it'll be very interesting to see how it all plays out. But yeah, so we have Damian posted. Yeah, that's what I was going to get at. He was wrapped up in a sexual assault of a 17-year-old scandal. He didn't do the assaulting, but he was part of the situation. Yeah, that's not good.
That's not great.
Yeah, no,
it's not what you want.
That's definitely not what you want. And we have on many occasions talked about issues like that, whether it be sexual assault or just assault in general, like with Chapman, and how we've disgraced him at times because of that issue that he had. We've done it with the football players that we enjoy to watch and then kind of let us down. And then there's the Antonio Browns, who are just absolute maniacs and end up flying off the handle. And even if he is innocent, it's tough to shake it, because he's such a crazy person, such a wackadoo, that it's tough to trust. No matter what, I mean, you could definitely have accusations against a guy like that. Damian also posted, I don't think things will go well for him in Boston. He'll be solid on the field, but has a history of a lack of effort, and he's replacing one of the hardest working guys in baseball. Whenever it's tough to say you're replacing him, because you can't replace that guy. You can't. It's like Didi Gregorius and Jeter. Didi did the greatest job in the world taking over that position, but he never could really replace him. It's not a replaceable thing, but I know what you're saying. He is definitely has big shoes to fill, but you can't hold him to those standards.
What was it that Savick said to Spock? I could never replace you. I can only succeed you.
There you go.
There you go.
Good quote. Way to pull that up.
Yeah, I pulled that one straight out of my ass.
Pulled it right out of his buttocks. All right, so as of right now, we have one extra comment on Twitter about the Star Wars thing. So if you can, go to @ShaneandBryman, post it in the comments, or you can post it in the comments here while we're going live about the Mount Rushmore of Star Wars characters.
I am excited for the Mount Rushmore.
I am too. I'm excited. That's why I keep pumping it, because
I have one in particular that I think is really out there. So
there's no way ours are the same. But
of course not.
Especially the out there character, because Star Wars has a very vast collection of characters. And,
it does.
I have a feeling I know where your character is going to come from, but I'm not going to say yet. I'll tell you before you say it. Ask me where he comes from, and I will give you my thought. Okay. All right. So let's get into the NBA. So we just talked the MLB. got into some of the MLB. If you have any, what comments do you have about what comments do you have about the MLB trade for Mookie Betts going over to the Dodgers, Price going to the Dodgers, then they're getting Verdugo, and then if you want to talk about any of the problems that Verdugo has off the field, if you know any more than we do, right now we have some altercations that he was involved in a sexual assault case when he was of a 17-year-old. He wasn't the actual person, but he was there, I guess. Not necessarily assisting, but there, and he didn't do anything. So we'll see how that goes. All right, let's get into our next topic, which is something we haven't talked about in a long time. Long time. And holy cow, we got to see part of that trade happen last night, and that's the NBA, the trade, where there was a 4-team trade between a bunch of teams, Nuggets, and was it the Wolves and the Rockets, and there's just so many teams that were involved. But what ended up happening was
what had happened
was the Rockets ended up getting, and Rockets are my favorite team, so I'm going to talk about that trade and my thoughts about it. And right now, the Rockets have acquired Covington, and that's Robert.
Yes.
And he is a good player. Now, this is the problem. This is the problem that you see on the surface, is that they are going to a small ball type lineup, something that isn't typically used.
Do you know that Covington at 6'9" is now the tallest player on the team?
Yes, he is. Yeah, and he is not a big 6'9".
No,
he's
not.
6'9".
Quiety.
Yeah, he is. He would be more of your probably small forward because you want him shooting from the outside. He's not a power forward, but he is a good defender. That's great. Clint Capella, who they traded, also a very good defender, and also a rim protector. Now they do have no rim protector. So this is the problem here. That's the big issue, and that's a lot of what the NBA, the old NBA lore, like Shaq and Charles Barkley, and even Chris Webber last night, who was talking about the problem that they're going to have is they can't guard somebody like Anthony Davis, and they can't have anybody. They have to play serious defense now because they have no rim protector. If you get by them, if you get by your guy, if the guy gets by you, there's nobody to back you up. You have like 6'4" PJ Tucker out there. That's not going to be the situation that you want. So they're going to have to really run the ball, make lots of fast breaks, and then this. Okay, so let me just get into this. Mike D'Antoni, this is his brainchild. And if it doesn't work, I think that you won't see him sticking around much longer than past this season, because he really wants to try something different, because he obviously can't get the help that he needs as far as the star power. He's got Russ. Yes, that's great. But he had to give up a crap load of everything, particularly draft picks. So that's going to be hurt. He's going to be hurting there for the next couple of years. And then on top of that, you also have Harden. Those are two good stars, but they're both similar players. Similar in, not necessarily in style, but they score a lot of points, a lot of assists, a lot of rebounds.
Yeah.
Now, but they've always had big men in the past, and they just traded, and the Rockets traded away Nene, and they also traded away Capella. Now they have no big men. Well, I guess they have Tyson Chandler on the bench, but I don't know if he's hurt right now or what. But I'll figure that out as the season goes on. So anyway, the small ball. This is the problem with my problem with the small ball, is that it could get old, and I mean, as in, it could. This is going to get old in a way where the players are going to feel old real soon, because they are going to have to play balls out on the offense and defensive side of the ball, because they have no rim protector. You cannot play lazy defense like they have in the past, where Harden just kind of tries to make a swipe at the ball, lets the guy go by him, and then you have Clint Capella behind you, backing you up. No, you don't have that anymore. So now you have to play legit defense, and this could wear out an already tired guy like Harden, who gets tired in the fourth quarter. Russell Westbrook, tired in the fourth quarter, and they have a hard time making shots in that quarter. This could wear them out, so they are not even close to ready and in shape to go play in the fourth quarter, depending on how they get rested and stuff. So now I talked about the defense. They're 3-ball. They are going to have to shoot the lights out on a regular basis. And yes, they got Covington, who is a good shooter from 3, but they still have Russell, and Russell is going to have to do something along the lines of like attacking the paint. Like he does. He does it, and he does it very well. He's very good inside of 10 feet. He is not good at all. He's one of the worst shooters in the league when it comes to threes. Mm-hmm. So they have to make sure that he doesn't fall in love with the 3 and he keeps attacking the basket. He needs to, let Harden stick with the perimeter basketball and, getting people off the dribble and faking and ISO and all that kind of stuff. He just needs to attack and take it to the rim hard. And if he gets converged on by 3 people, pass to the open guy. If he has 1, maybe even 2 guys, take it to the rim hard. You need to go like Dominique Wilkins style, hard to the basket, take it, rim rattler, or pull up and take that nice 8 to 10 foot jumper, which you excel at. That's what he excels at. That's what he's talented at. He's good at, north-south runner. South, just goes downhill right into the paint and attacks the rim. Good at that. That's what he needs to do. Let Harden do the outside stuff. Now, I'm intrigued to see if this is going to work, though, because it doesn't we've never really seen this at this level. You don't see a small ball lineup for an extended period of time at this level. And I am a little skeptical because obviously the rim protector is something that's very important, but they won last night handily, not towards the end. But the only issue is that the Lakers didn't really have much time to prepare for this. They've seen it. And I do believe in a 7-game series, if they do match up, that the Lakers will prepare for that and they will absolutely destroy them because they will figure out a way to keep them out, let them shoot threes. Because if you are hot with threes, there is no way you are going to stay hot for 4 games in a row or even 4 games in general, being hot from 3, particularly with long defenders like LeBron, Anthony Davis. They have some good defenders on that team. I get nervous about that. And I think they're just going to feel old as the season goes on if they have to play so hard on both ends of the ball for the whole year, for the rest of the year, to make sure that they have a good spot. Because right now they're in the middle of the pack. I think they're like, 5th, 4th in the league in their division. But the Lakers are number 1. They beat the number 1 team last night.
Are you talking about Houston? Houston's 4.
Yeah. So they're kind of in the middle. They're kind of in middle top.
Well, they're teetering because Utah is only a half a game behind them, and it's actually pretty tight. The top 7 teams in the West are pretty tight. There's only 7.5 games that separate the Mavericks, who are the 7th seed, in the Lakers.
Yeah.
So I still think the Lakers are going to win the West. I don't know about comfortably. I think the Clippers will be on their trail, but I think that's the Lakers conference to lose. Do you have anything else you want to touch on that trade before I shift gears to a different trade?
I am just like I said, I'm just very intrigued how this all is going to work out. As of right now, I'm skeptical. Like I said, I have never really trusted Mike D'Antoni. I don't like his way of ball, which is basically go and fire up threes and push the ball and fire up threes and push the ball and fire up threes and occasionally tap the basket and try and get fouls and all that kind of stuff, and doesn't play much defense. Now, they do have some good defenders. Like I said, Covington's a good defender. Tucker's a good defender. But their 2 main guys, Russell and Harden, are not great defenders. They typically just let people go by them. And you can't do that anymore. So I'll be interested to see how that plays out, if they can get their top 2 guys to play defense like that, because I'm not sold. And the Lakers, we know, they saw what happened yesterday. They are going to have a game plan because LeBron went home, came up with a plan. He's going to introduce it to his team. Maybe not now, he might introduce it to his team, but they might not implement it during the regular season. Yeah. He's a smart guy. He's one of, if not the smartest guys in basketball right now. So I'll be interested to see how it plays out in the real time, which is playoff basketball, because then you really need that rim protector. So go ahead. What do you got for trades?
Actually, the trade that I kind of wanted to focus on, ironically, is a trade between 2 teams who have a combined record of 27 and 75. 2 of the 4 worst teams in the league And that's the Golden State Warriors and the Minnesota Timberwolves, who basically swapped assets. But I think it's an interesting trade. Obviously not in this year, but from a long-term perspective, I think I kind of like this trade for both teams. So basically, the Golden State Warriors sent D'Angelo Russell to the Minnesota Timberwolves in exchange for a former overall number 1 first pick by the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2014, Andrew Wiggins. And also the Warriors, I think, got themselves a 2021 first round pick and then I think a 2021 second round pick. So, there's mostly Russell for Wiggins, essentially. But I kind of like this trade for both teams. One, I think it's sort of a nice reset for Wiggins. And I think going to Golden State, and he's not a bad player, by the way. I mean, he actually is averaging like 22.5 points this year and 5 rebounds. He's actually a nice player, but I like him going into Golden State, especially like next year and moving forward a little bit, because I think with Golden State, they're going through, listen, they lost Durant, they're sustained injuries this year. They're kind of a team they're literally the worst team in basketball right now, which is so hard to believe. I mean, that team is 2 years removed, right? 2 years, right? Removed from a championship. And now they're back to being like the slugs of the NBA again. It's really hard to believe.
Yeah.
But I think Wiggins could be a nice piece for them as they get healthy going forward next year. You have a lineup where he inserts, and maybe he's a nice complement to guys like Steph Curry and Thompson. I mean, it's just going to be a different team now without Durant. But I kind of like that moving forward for Wiggins. I think he gets to press the reset button, and I think it gives him a good opportunity. And I think you can kind of say the same a little bit for Russell too, because Russell now gets to go. The Timberwolves really desperately needed a point guard to pair with Karl Anthony Towns. And now they have him. And D'Angelo Russell is a good player. He's career high. He's averaging almost 24 points this year, so he can score. And now you've given Karl Anthony Towns that point guard that I think that team needed. I kind of like this trade. It's weird because, again, it's a completely non-impactful trade this year. But I like how it sets both of these teams up a little bit for the future. And I think it's a relatively fair swap. I mean, do I think Russell is probably the better player overall than Wiggins? Yes, I think he probably is. But at the same time, the Warriors also get a protected first round pick and a second round pick from the T-Wolves. And I think that evens. I think it was a very balanced trade. And I think both teams actually might benefit from it in the long term. So I thought that was kind of a non-impactful for this year trade, but I think it has some long-term ramifications for both teams.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so now we'll get into a topic that Clint said. Why did the Celtics do nothing on the trade front? I think you could say that about a lot of teams. I think the Lakers are kind of dumbfounded too. What do you got? Do you have any thinking about? It's
a good point about the Celtics because
they're good. They're third.
They're good. They're the third seed, and the Heat. Now, what scares me a little bit though is that the Heat did make a go for it now move in getting Iguodala, and I know like a lot of people might say, well, Iguodala's kind of older, and you know what, that might still be the best sixth man in the league, and that is And the Heat the Heat are about a year ahead of schedule right now, the way they're playing this year. Like nobody was really expecting this out of this team. I mean, they're almost 20 games over 500, and they are a legit good team. And now you get a guy like that, a leader, a veteran, and a proven winner like Andre Iguodala, and you add him to your lineup, and the Celtics kind of sit back and do nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of have to think, with only one game between the two of them right now, that this might vault the Heat past the Celtics. That's a really big piece that the Heat got. A smart move, typical Pat Riley kind of move by that team. And listen, look out, because the Heat are the kind of team that it would not shock me in the least if they actually came out of the East. It wouldn't. I really would not be surprised. Milwaukee clearly picking up where they left off last year, especially in terms of the regular season. I mean, they are, they're head and shoulders above anybody right now. They got a 7-game lead.
Literally with Giannis.
Against the defending, NBA champion Toronto Raptors, who have also been a nice surprise this year, rebounding really well from losing the second best player in the NBA.
Absolutely.
So it's been a pretty interesting season so far, but I really love, if you wanted to kind of say winners and losers, I would say the Heat were probably the bigger winners, and Iguodala is going to be tasked. Let's say the Heat end up playing the Sixers at some point. He's going to be tasked with trying to lock down Ben Simmons. So I really think the Heat were kind of the big winners. And you think like, well, Andre Iguodala is an old dude. Andre Iguodala can still play, and he brings a lot to the table. So many intangibles for a team that, again, is slightly ahead of schedule and is looking to make a move in an East that I still believe, despite the Bucks' record, is pretty wide open.
Yeah. So Damian, we're kind of going back on the comments a little bit, and he's talking about how that he's starting to get back into the NBA a little bit, and he was saying how he's like, is my memory off, or is the league smaller than it used to be and a lot more athletic? And it's not smaller, because typically I think the average height in the NBA has been 6'7" since like the inception of the NBA. So it's been pretty much the same height, but yes, I said they are a lot more athletic. They play in a more athletic way too. It's like, now the centers shoot threes. Like they're all more athletic. They're all less Shaq and more Dirk Nowitzki kind of players. And Dirk Nowitzki's would be slow in today's standards. I said just wait until you see Giannis play, because he is very fast, very tall, very big, arm span. I think it reaches one sideline to the other side. It's ridiculous. He's a ridiculous player.
Crazy wingspan.
Yeah. So you just wait until you see
Is
that.
Damian still looking?
Get used to what?
Is he still looking for a team?
Because he's a Rockets fan. I just got it.
He is that official?
No.
Oh, okay. Normally, Damian, I would say jump aboard the Spurs train, but I'm not so sure that the quiet dynasty is. They actually might just be quiet right now. They're not quite there.
It's the quiet place.
Oh, he decided to stay with the Hawks. All right, good for you. I mean, hey, listen, nobody will accuse you of jumping on the bandwagon because they're a terrible team this year. So,
poor Hawks. All right. I mean, they're only second to last. It's fine. All right, we got Serge pops in. Dirk
that's Serge.
is a tortoise
Serge.
in the NBA today. I am from Texas, and I am a Mavs fan, so I can say that. Yes. In his prime,
is he disappointed the Mavs didn't do anything? Because the Mavs are kind of, they're in the bottom half. I think they're the 7th seed right now. And, again, the West is relatively tight. Those 7.5 games separate them from the Lakers. But is Serge, I love saying that, Serge, is Serge mad that the Mavs didn't really do anything? Now, I actually, on Twitter, there's a number.
Luka's a man.
He is.
I love watching him play.
He's fun.
That's another guy, Damian. When you see the Mavs play, you'll see Luka Doncic. He is awesome. He's awesome to watch play.
Yes, he is. He's fun.
I actually enjoyed a story that I heard about from him and Kobe Bryant, and how they were on the court, and Kobe Bryant was talking smack to him in Luka's native tongue.
Yeah,
that's one of the many talents that Kobe Bryant had.
Yes, it was.
All right, so let's see. Trey seems like a guy I can get behind, and Collins sort of reminds me of a faster, smoother Kevin Willis. I would say that those are both very good comments. I mean, Trey he's so small, but he can score. So we'll see how things can go with him. Let's see. He said, no, I'm not. He is doing his thing. He's not sad that they didn't make a trade. They will get in. They'll get in most likely.
Oh, they'll probably get in.
They'll get in. I would say the Trailblazers are kind of. They need to step it up. They have been kind of lackluster.
Disappointing.
Yeah, a little disappointing this year. And I'm a big Dame fan. I love Dame Lillard. He's my man.
Who doesn't?
He's awesome. That's a guy I would love to have on my team. Like I might tear up if I get a guy like Damian Lillard on my team. Oh, I love Damian.
No, instead you have Russell Westbrook.
No, The guy,
the most unlikable man in sports. No, he's not that bad, but he's
pretty bad.
He's not likable. I wouldn't say
he's up there. Him and
unlikable.
Draymond are like Bobby. Got to be the two most.
That you know what? Maybe that
could that be
our next. Could that be our next Mount Rushmore? The 4 most unlikable people in sports.
Right now. Let's do right now. Yes, we can do that. We can put that in the analyst.
I don't know if I would put Russell in that, but I know my number one. I know my George Washington would be James.
We don't need to say it though.
James Dolan's got to be the. He's got to be the worst.
And we're gonna take owners into it, I guess.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll go. Okay. GMs or owners, everything. All right.
Oh, GMs, owners, yeah, all of it.
All right. Cool. No doubt.
There you go. I just gave you my Washington, James Dolan.
Yeah.
He's
all right.
terrible.
So, all right, Brian. We're
it's
gonna
time.
be getting this. I got to take this real quick. Hold on. I don't know what it is.
Oh.
Hello.
Girl from Ipanema elevator.
Oh, okay.
He's taking a very important call. I wonder who this could be from. Oh, are you guys excited for the Mount Rushmore of Star Wars? I am. I can't wait to start talking about this.
Well, we can start talking about it right now.
I feel bad because I feel like 3 of mine are sort of what you would call chalk, but then my 4th one is definitely.
Doesn't matter if it's chalk. If it's something to you, if it's important to you.
Hey, they're the 4 that.
All right,
they're my 4.
First off, I want to get into some people who
I want to say my
commented.
weird one for the last one too.
I'm going to get into a couple that. All right, so Clint, he posted his. His would probably be Luke Skywalker, Leia Skywalker, Han Solo, and Darth Vader. Anakin Skywalker. He's got 3 Skywalkers and a Solo who married a Skywalker.
Right.
Who impregnated a Skywalker.
That's a chalk list. Yeah. I mean, that's a chalk list.
That's a chalk list, absolutely. And then we have Damien, who also posted. He said his Star Wars is Darth Revan. Oof, that's a good one. Mando, yes. Obi-Wan, and Leia. That's a good list. Okay. That's a good list. It's not chalk.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Although Damien and I do have one in common.
Mm-hmm, I'm sure. Cool. And then we have.
By the way, is it pronounced Darth Revan? I believe it's Revan. It's a hard E, right?
I think it's Revan.
Is it Revan? Yeah, all right. Well, we'll have Damien.
I'm pretty certain because I like Revan.
Okay. Well, then there you go.
And it might be. Was he Grand? No, I don't.
Grand Moff Tarkin?
I don't remember if it's that or not. So, yeah, Revan.
Okay.
So we have in here. We have from Stuck in the Middle Confused. They have. This is what they have. Ready?
Yeah.
Yoda as his Washington, being the father of the Jedi. Obi-Wan as the Lincoln for aiding significantly in the Civil War and getting assassinated.
Nice.
Ki-Adi Mundi as the Teddy Roosevelt due to being a conservationist after all, what about the droid attack on the Wookiees? And Mace Windu as Jefferson.
Very nice.
That's a good list. That's a good list.
Nice. That's good.
That's not a chalk list.
No, not at all.
So we're going to get into our. Yeah, I thought it was a very good list. So far, I've liked all the lists. I mean, you can't. I mean, if you like Star Wars, you have to like these lists, even if they are chalk lists. I don't know if I have the Mount Rushmore in here. Do I have it?
I'm going to save my one weird one for last, so I guess that'll be my Jefferson.
Nope, I don't. I don't have it in there. But you know what I can do? Give me a few seconds, and I'll get some stuff going on. All right, why don't you start off? You start off with your number 1, the Mount Rushmore.
George. G-Dubs himself.
George.
Well, listen. Who better to represent?
What? Why is it? Hold on. Something got all messed up. I gotta change this out. There you go. Now you're good. Go.
Okay. Who better to represent George Washington, who is, as far as I'm concerned, the face of the franchise? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Who else? Who is the face of the franchise in Star Wars? The face that runs the place. Mm-hmm. The biggest baddie of them all.
I know who you're talking about.
Who else could it be but Darth Vader? No. Lord Vader himself. Mm-hmm. Evil to his core. You know how many younglings he killed? So many younglings. So many younglings. So listen, it just doesn't get. How do you get more iconic than Darth Vader himself? James Earl Jones, the voice of Darth Vader, from end to end. Even when he didn't sound all that great in Rogue One, still. And I mean, just how many iconic lines do we get from Darth Vader? And also, in the end, Darth Vader really was the one who brought balance to the Force, even though it didn't seem like that through, the first two and 7/8 movies. But, he eventually did. He eventually did bring balance to the Force, as was foreseen. And he is, and will always be, my favorite Star Wars character. And he is the absolute face of Star Wars. And he is my George Washington. He is the face that runs the place. He's certainly the face that runs the Death Star, yes. He is. He's the man, the GOAT. Well, he's actually more machine now than man, twisted and evil, but he is, without a doubt, the greatest. The GOAT. No doubt. So, there's chalk number 1.
All right. I like it. Big fan. All right, so let's play this right here. Turn the volume down and get to that.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we have mine as well. Mine is, and I'm not going to get into because you touched on most of it. If Darth Vader isn't in your list, I'm not going to say that it's a dumb list because I think there's so many great characters. But I will say, when you think of Star Wars, if he doesn't instantly pop in your head,
it's gotta, yeah. I mean, come on.
His Jedi total, his kill total, is huge.
Yeah.
It's enormous, and he is one of the GOATs, if not the GOAT, villain in movie cinematic history of all time.
Right.
So, how can you not really have him in there? I don't know, but he is definitely my George Washington because, as far as villains go, you say the name Darth Vader, 2 things popped up in people's head. They either think the Imperial March, or they start breathing like a scuba man. That's it. You can say it's anybody. You can go to China and be like Darth Vader, and that's what they'll do. You can go to India, say Darth Vader. That's what they're going to do. You can go to the Czech Republic and say Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And that's what they'll do.
Yeah.
He's iconic.
Yeah. I mean, even my 2-year-old can identify Darth Vader.
And if he didn't,
Darth Vader. That's what it sounds like.
All right. So let's get into the next one on our list. Go ahead. Who is number 2 on your list?
My number 2.
Not really number 2 because Lincoln's the number 2, but
yeah, Lincoln's number 2.
Technically, this would be like number 3.
I guess this is my Roosevelt.
Yeah,
it's got to be my Teddy, and I think this is a good choice. Teddy Roosevelt had some fine facial hair, and so does this person.
Yes,
Obi-Wan Kenobi,
son of a bee sting.
And he has to be.
By the way, this is not for kids. Son of a bitch.
Son of a fucking bitch. Son of a nutcracker. Obi-Wan Kenobi is my Theodore Roosevelt. Obi-Wan Kenobi, first of all, he is, in my opinion, one of the few characters in Star Wars lore who has been played tremendously by 2 different actors. By Sir Alec Guinness, the late great Sir Alec Guinness, and of course Ewan McGregor, who every Star Wars fan I know of, including myself, is begging Disney to make some kind of either a standalone series on Disney Plus or a movie. Okay? What are we laughing at?
Serge.
What did he say? If we go to China, they breathe like that because of the mask they were. Oh, yeah. What do they call it? The noodle virus? Oh, my God. Well, it did originate from food, right? So it's a foodborne illness, right? So that's just a funny way to phrase it. Noodle virus. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. You know what the thing that I've always loved about Obi-Wan Kenobi, though?
No, tell me.
That guy, you want to talk about clutch? That dude won almost every big fight.
Even the one he lost. Even the one he lost, he still won.
He had one kind of Achilles, and that was Count Dooku. Count Dooku gave him some trouble.
Yeah.
Count Dooku had a fighting style that gave Obi-Wan some trouble. Mm-hmm. But when push came to shove, man,
Darth Maul.
He's the guy that made Darth Vader Darth Vader. Okay, he cut off his arms, he cut off his legs, he left him for dead in a burning pile of rubble.
He trained Darth Vader. He trained Luke.
Him.
You know, like a little bit. Yoda really trained you, Luke, but
he beat a young Anakin. He beat General Grievous. Granted, he beat him with a gun too, which was kind of ironic. But he took out General Grievous. Yes, he did struggle with Dooku. And then what's the other really big one that I am missing here? He took out he was young and he took out Darth Maul after Darth Maul killed his master, Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yep.
If Obi-Wan Kenobi is not, listen, help us, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're our only hope. He needs to be on this list. He had to be on this list for me. And again, one of the things that I love about him is that he was played, and I really would say equally masterfully by two really great actors. That's odd because the episodes 1, 2, and 3 they take some shit, and rightfully so, because those are not great movies.
Just kidding.
The one thing we can say definitively is that Ewan McGregor and Sir Alec Guinness played those roles so well and so
I can't wait for the show to come out.
Yeah, and so, Obi-Wan Kenobi is he's my Teddy Roosevelt.
Yep. All right, number 2 for me, also Obi-Wan Kenobi. He trained the best villain. He also helped take him out down the road. Actually, helped take him out twice. He made him Darth Vader, and then he kind of took him out again later on. And he also helped bring Vader back to the right side and helped take down Palpatine. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about how this whole thing ended, but
have I waited?
He really brought he at the very end he brought his friend, the person that he trained, back over, and they ended up being Force Ghost pals. So I will. Yeah, I love Anakin's story. I don't necessarily like the prequels, the characters that played it, the character that played him. Unfortunately, I think he's ill right now. The character that played him, but
Hayden Christensen?
No, the original. The
yes.
Boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is he?
I think so. I think he's ill.
Young kid?
I think so.
I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear.
He's not young anymore. Now he's like
I know.
25, but he's still. I think he's ill. And even Hayden Christensen didn't do a great job playing him. But if you watch the Clone Wars, you will see the true Anakin Skywalker, and it is so awesome to watch. And seeing how he slowly
the animated,
yes, and how he slowly changes and turns into the person that it's phenomenal the way that they do it. So.
Damien, I hate episode 9 with a fiery passion.
Yeah, he does. All right, so it was great. This is our number 2. Now, who is your number 3? Who is your third guy on this list? Because this is the guy for me that is the one that nobody's going to guess.
Here's my chalk. Here's another chalk one.
He's in the bounty hunter lore. That's all I'll say. My guy.
So
I think your guy is from Rebels. Rogue One. That's who I think your guy's from.
Okay, well, you're going to be wrong.
Damn it.
No, there is no way anyone will get my Jefferson. There's no way.
What is it?
We're not going Jefferson now. We're doing Lincoln now.
Oh.
This is my Lincoln.
No, we're not doing Lincoln.
I'm doing Lincoln.
Lincoln's the best. Lincoln's the second best.
Yeah, but I want to save my weird one for the end.
Oh.
I'm trying to go what? You want me to do my weird one?
Yeah, because we'll save the best for last. Or the second best for last. The corners. You got to make the good ones on the. Come on.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, then my Jefferson. This is the one that nobody could possibly guess. Now, all 4 of mine are within the movies. All within the movies. Mm-hmm. There is nothing outside of this. There's no Mandalorian. There is nothing with Rebels or Clone Wars. Mm-hmm. My Thomas Jefferson is the underappreciated Wedge Antilles. And I love Wedge Antilles. Do you want to know why I love Wedge Antilles?
Tell us why.
Because that guy is a fucking warrior, man. Wedge Antilles, not only did he survive every single significant battle, which includes the Battle of the Final Order in episode 9, that guy survived every major battle. He didn't just survive, he thrived.
Showed up at
Wedge
the end.
Antilles
Hell of a pilot.
Is an unbelievable, but fuck Poe Dameron. Poe Dameron is what you would call, you know how like sometimes we talk about athletes and we say, oh yeah, that guy's a nice little player. Poe Dameron's a nice little player. Wedge Antilles is a fucking MVP, man. Wedge Antilles has been part of every significant battle, and he hasn't just survived them. He has acquitted himself admirably, very well. He's an unbelievable pilot. So underappreciated in those movies. An unbelievably great pilot. And he is my Thomas Jefferson.
That's fantastic. All right.
Yeah. There's my weird one.
All right, so my weird one, and because I think everybody has their weird one, and you should if you're in Star Wars has a vast.
By the way, Donald Trump would love Wedge Antilles just because he lived through all of them.
Lord.
He would, though. That fucking guy.
All right, so my guy here is from the bounty hunter side of things. He was, at one point, the greatest bounty hunter on the planet. In the world. In the vast galaxy. He was the bounty hunter. No, it's not Boba Fett. Boba Fett, I think, is the most overrated bounty hunter. Unfortunately,
the Mandalorian?
Unfortunately, he's not the Mandalorian. Boba Fett's not the Mandalorian. He is.
No. I'm saying is the Mandalorian here.
So, no. It is from the Clone Wars TV show.
Okay. Okay.
And this is a guy who was actually, if you look into it, you can find that he was actually killed by Boba Fett in a quick little duel that they had where they both got shot in the head. But Boba Fett was wearing his helmet and has a big ding in his helmet. That's where he got it from. And the guy that I'm talking about is Cad Bane. He is such a badass. This
cool
guy,
name too.
He stole a holocron from the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. He also, his Jedi kill total. He is a normal human. He is not normal. He's not a normal human. He is a normal character. No Jedi powers, no force sensitive powers. He killed 218 Jedi throughout his time. He held his own against Palpatine. He held his own against Obi-Wan. He held his own against all these characters. He held his own against Anakin. Held his own. General Grievous, who is a guy who I love. I think he's a fantastic character. I like his whole backstory.
But a coward.
I like
a coward.
As he got a little, he was a coward, but he was a warrior. And the more you go into it, he wasn't quite as much of a coward, but he did back down from people like Obi-Wan and stuff like that because they were better. But I will say, General Grievous killed somewhere between 14 and 100 something Jedi. That's there's no real total.
Because Porkins died, Clint. Porkins didn't make it. Wedge thrived and survived.
Jango Fett killed approximately 21 Jedi. Boba Fett killed less Jedi than Jango Fett. Boba Fett died easily. And I don't care what you want to say about these books where he shot his way out of the Sarlacc. It's not happening. Didn't happen. Because he never came back. He never came back in the movies. I haven't seen him in any other episodes and any kind of animated stuff. So he didn't come back. But
yeah, that was a weird, like, non-canon kind of.
Cad Bane was one of the greatest, if not the greatest, bounty hunter for an extended period of time. Unfortunately, it seems like a young Boba Fett killed an old Cad Bane in a duel, an old style Western slinging duel.
Mexican standoff.
Yeah, and they both did headshots, but Boba Fett was wearing his helmet, and that's how he got that ding in his helmet. So that's my third.
I like that choice.
I like Cad Bane. I love that guy. I wish I could get a nice, affordable collectible of him I just love him. He's such a badass. He's blue, red eyes. He's has a toothpick all the time. Nice hat. So it's such a Western.
Really?
Yeah, such a Western badass. Oh, so
sounds
cool.
Sounds like a character I would like. I'll have to look into that a little more.
He's pretty sweet, and he is all about the money, all about the money. He will do anything for the money, and he is wriggled out of some serious. He's a smart dude. Go ahead, your next guy, the final.
Abe. Yeah, I mean, listen. Who else could it be? The lover, general, smuggler, war hero. However you want to call him, whatever moniker you want to go by, there's only one, and it's literally in his last name, Han Solo. The guy who shot first. And you know what? Played by, in my opinion, the greatest actor who ever lived, Harrison Ford. Playing a role that he absolutely despised, but played it so well. Han Solo is... If Vader is the face of the franchise, Han Solo is kind of the heart and soul of it, I would say. He's some of the lines, the character himself, played just so perfectly by a guy who... I think the reason why he played the character so well is because I think in a lot of ways Harrison Ford was Han Solo. Especially from an attitude perspective.
I disagree.
This is why I think he played it so well. Well, he is a gruff guy.
This is why Han Solo wasn't on my list. And I'm selling it because to me, when I think of Harrison Ford, I think of Indy.
Indiana of course Jones. You think of Indy. I mean, so do I.
That's him.
Of course.
And it's not Han.
No, I'm 100% with you. First of all, make no mistake about it. Indiana Jones is my favorite movie character, period. So, and that's the role that Harrison Ford loves playing more than any. It's the role that he basically keeps begging Spielberg, despite it being well into his 70s, to keep playing because he loves it so much. And I'm fully on board with that. If he wants to play Indiana Jones until he dies, that's fine by me because that's always going to be my favorite movie character. But I couldn't not put Han Solo on my mountain because there's just too many memorable moments. I love you. I know. I mean, it's just...
He did it to his son, too, twice.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think I can do it. Or whatever he said. I know.
Yeah, I know.
Stabbed, second time, throw my lightsaber in the... Yeah. Spoilers.
Yeah. But, listen, that's my Lincoln. It had to be. And that's my list. That's a good list. I mean, it's an out of whack list because of Wedge Antilles, but sorry.
Yeah,
that's the way it is.
Hey, gotta put the guys that you like in there. And my number one, not number one, number two is Yoda, because when I think of the light side, I think of Yoda. He trained the best Jedi, and even Darth Sidious said that Yoda could have defeated the Emperor. He could have defeated him. That's what he said. He said that he's the only person that he could, hand-to-hand, one-on-one, defeat. That could be defeated. Darth Sidious, or the Emperor, or whatever you want to call him. Yoda could have beat him because he was that powerful. And I love Yoda. And I can't wait. I really hope they do something with like a 500 years ago storyline and Yoda's involved. Like, I want to see the badass Yoda that we kind of got to see a little bit in the prequels. I want to see it. Just like and this is the reason why Luke Skywalker wasn't on my list. Because they never really had him live up to his potential.
Yeah.
He should have been.
Luke never did anything for me.
He should have been like, when all the story was told and finished, he should have been the GOAT. The power that he had, you got to see it a little bit in the last Jedi. You got to see it a little bit.
Right.
You didn't get to see
basically hologramming himself into a fight.
He could do things like that and even to next level, but you never really got to see it because they just kind of breeze through it and it stinks. But if I do a little bit honorable mention right here, I'll say people like Grievous. He was on my honorable mention. I loved him. Grand Moff Tarkin, loved him. Chewie, of course. Darth Maul was great, but not on my list. But I loved he's just a great character. Rey, I loved Rey in the Force Awakens. I really liked her transition into the last movie. Everything else was just okay. Luke Skywalker also, Han Solo, Princess Leia, K2SO was another one that I really enjoyed.
K2SO was awesome. Yeah,
he was great, but he didn't have enough time. He didn't have enough time to really grow on you. And I mean, he did in the movie. He grew on you, but he was actually, I think, the only part that I enjoyed in that movie, Rogue One. R2D2, great, love him. Of course, Cad Bane I had in there, and Ahsoka Tano from the Star Wars, Clone Wars, the animated show. Ahsoka Tano is great, love her. Asajj Ventress, another great one. There's a lot of great characters that I just loved, but those are the 4 on my list.
I've got a few. Kylo Ren, I love Kylo Ren.
He's great. He was.
I think Adam Driver played that role really well.
I do. I didn't like the way they finished him either. Like the whole I mean we're months past the release date. So I mean the kiss that just made it was cringy. Like
anytime you make out with you don't need to make out with your sister. It's just not necessary.
All you have to do.
I know they weren't related.
All you have to do is say I'm sorry and give her a hug and then die. Like that's all you had to do. You didn't have to make out. Like what?
There didn't need to be any time. But listen, I love Kylo Ren though. I liked the character quite a bit. And he was, obviously a huge focal point of those last 3 movies. And I think Adam Driver did a nice job with that role.
He was great. He's a phenomenal actor.
I would be remiss if I did not put Yoda on the list. How can you not? Of course I have to put, I'm wearing a Chewie onesie right now, so I've got to put Chewie on the list. Chewie was so underappreciated in so many ways, or right down to the point where even in episode 4, where he didn't even get a medal in episode 4.
The GOAT best friend.
Yeah. Yes, he was.
There's no other friend that has your back more than Chewie.
Without a doubt. I mean, even to the point where he he had Han Solo's coat for him there, like in his scarf or whatever. No, he was like holding his coat for him there in episode 7. Also, we did mention this character a little while ago, but Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah,
loved Qui-Gon
cool.
Jinn. Mm-hmm. Very cool character. Would have loved to have seen more of Liam Neeson, play that character, because I think it would have been a really. I think that could have been a badass movie. Yeah.
I'm surprised we didn't get any Baby Yodas.
Oh, I love Baby Yoda, or the child, excuse me. Yeah. And I really do like The Mandalorian.
It's great show.
But there's a lot of characters in The Mandalorian that I like too.
IG-11, fantastic.
Yeah, IG-11's awesome. So,
I have spoken.
Yeah.
So many great characters.
But the whole Mandalorian, this is the way. It's just it was just so well done. But I think in time, we'll start to not only appreciate The Mandalorian more, but we're going to
comes out
start
October.
To love it more. Yeah, because the next one's coming in October.
Lots of Disney Plus content coming out, man. They have over 26 million subscribers already.
Yeah. And I'm glad I did that thing where I bought it up front for 3 years.
I did not.
It was worth it. I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about.
I didn't have it wasn't set up yet because I had to get ready to get Hulu and all that kind of stuff because I cut the cable.
I won't even have to worry about it until 22 or something like that.
I've enjoyed what I've done so far. So, all right. Thank you guys for watching, listening. And if you have any comments or any topics that you want us to talk about in the future, Mount Rushmore, movies or sports, anything like that, go ahead and post in the comments. You can tag us on Twitter, on Instagram, whatever you want to do. You can find us on Twitter at Shane and Bryman. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Shane and the Bryman. And of course, you can find me on Twitter at Einhorn Finkel.
You can find me on Twitter at _Bry_man.
And you can find me on Instagram at Happy Basketball. And we'll be doing stuff like that, like I did today, where I go live for a quick little second to give you guys let know what we're doing before the show. Sometimes I'll do it during the beginning of the show to let you know that we're live on YouTube. But go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up too. If you haven't, it helps out to get the word out there. So thank you for listening, watching, however you took this in. I got to go to a doctor's appointment. And then I will see you guys again on Monday, right? Monday? We good?
I think so.
Let me just quickly double check, make sure Monday's a go for me. Because I think it is, but let's just to make sure. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Force Ghost Obi-Wan is behind me, along with Yoda and Luke.
Yes.
On the they're in the Dagobah system.
Dagobah.
But I just wanted to.
Place.
It really is. It's gross swampland.
Helps you focus. You don't have any distractions.
No, you definitely don't. I mean, there's a couple of rocks in the swamp. Some kind of swamp lizard. But also, what else did I want to say? Well, of course, stay classy, Planet Globe. And instead of the Tony Stark exit, I'm just going to say, may the Force be with you. And that the Force will be with you. Always.
Peace out, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye. Love the music in the background. So iconic, so classic.
It's nice.